A very good morning to all of you. So today we will try to understand the commutation of the SCR. You know that the SCR is a semi-controlled device. It can be easily turned off by applying a positive gate pulse at the gate terminal. But if you want to turn off your SCR, then you are having only two options in front of you. First option is you will have to apply a reverse voltage across the anode to the cathode terminal, and second you will have to make the anode current below the holding current value. So in any of these two options you will turn off your SCR. Now commutation is broadly classified into two types, that is the first one is natural commutation and second one is the forced commutation. So in natural commutation you are turning off your SCR naturally because you are having the AC voltage and AC voltage will be having a natural zero. So at the natural zero, you are making the anode current below the holding current. That is, you are reducing the anode current value to a zero. Now coming to the force commutation, when you are having a DC voltage, so there you do not have any natural zero. It means that you will have to create the artificial zero. So under the force commutation, we will try to understand the class E commutation. Now, when you are talking about the force commutation, you know that for turning off of the SCR, you require a special arrangement of auxiliary SCR, then inductor and the capacitor. So for turning off of the main SCR, you require this circuitry. Now in this case, what we are using? We are using an inductor, a capacitor is there and two auxiliary SCR. So compared to the natural commutation, force commutation circuitry is very much expensive. It will require more number of components. So when you are incorporating two to three components in your circuit additionally, it will increase the weight, size and cost of the system. So your system will not become compact. So we always prefer the natural commutation. Now in class E commutation, you can see T1 is your main SCR, then you have connected a load across it. So this is a simple circuit, that is a source voltage is there is one switch and the load. So when you are turning on this main SCR, now in this case T1 is considered as the main SCR. So when T1 is your main SCR and if you are providing a gate pulse, so what will happen? This SCR will act as a short circuit. So when it is acting as a short circuit, this entire voltage will come across the load. It means that you are feeding a load current will flow through it and you will get a voltage. Now your SCR is running. SCR is running means SCR is in the on state. Now if you want to turn off this SCR, then we have used a larger circuitry, that is T2, T3, L and C. Now how this arrangement will help us to turn off the main SCR, that we will try to understand now in a few minutes. So now we will try to analyze this circuit using the open board. So now in the open board you can see that we have drawn the circuit for the class A commutation. So now this is the main circuit part. If I cut this part like this, then you will get the main circuit part. So in the main circuit, you are having a supply voltage and the main SCR will be there and a load is there. So when you apply a positive gate pulse to the gate of the T1, so what will happen? Your SCR will enter into the forward conduction state. So when your SCR will enter into the forward conduction state, this T1 will be acting as a short circuit. So you can replace this T1 by a short circuit. So now you have a short circuit here and you are having a voltage Vs and there is a load. Now the remaining paths are open because you can see that you have not applied any gate pulse to T2 and T3, and you know that unless and until you provide a gate pulse, your SCR is not going to enter into the forward conduction mode. Your SCR will remain either in the forward biasing or will remain in the reverse biasing. So now you can see here you are having a simple circuit, that is the voltage Vs and the load. Now in this case what is happening, your entire voltage will come across your load. So when the entire voltage is coming across your load, it means this voltage source will be feeding the load. So there will be a flow of current, because you can see here closed circuit. So it means the current will enter this point and it will leave from this point. So you will get a voltage across your load. Now if you want to turn off this SCR, that is this SCR, so what you have to do? So you will have to use the special arrangement which is meant only to turn off your SCR. So we will have to use the arrangement of auxiliary SCR, then the inductor and the capacitor. So why we need this arrangement? Because you know that basically we are having only three passive elements, that is a resistor, inductor and the capacitor. So if you take the combination of resistor and the inductor, so what you will get? You will get the exponential curve with a time constant of L by R. Now similarly, if you take the R and C combination, then again you will arrive at the exponential curve with a time constant of 1 upon of RC. Then if you are having the LNC, only in LNC you will get the oscillation. So it means that when you are having a DC voltage, so there you have to create the artificial zero. You know that in the AC voltage will be having the positive half and the negative half. So in the positive half, you can turn on your SCR, and in the negative half, you can reverse bias your SCR. Again, you can see here the natural zero is present in the AC voltage. So at this natural zero, your anode current is equal to zero, which is less than the holding current value. So at this instant, you can turn off your SCR, and at the same time you are providing a reverse voltage to your SCR. It means your SCR will enter into the off state. And you know that if you want to turn off your SCR, then you will be having only two options. The first one is to apply a reverse voltage across SCR, and the second option will be to reduce the anode current below the holding current value. So it means that this is very much possible in case of the AC circuits. But if you are having a DC circuit, then you will have to create the artificial zero. Now, how to create the artificial zero? So for creating the artificial zero, you need some external element, some external passive element. So there you have the inductor and the capacitor, and you have already studied that if you're having the LC circuit, then you can create the oscillations. So here you have to create the artificial oscillations forcefully. So now in the first wave, you can see when this wave touches this value, so you will get the artificial zero. And when you are getting the artificial zero, so at this point your anode current will be less than the holding current. It means you are turning off your main SCR. So now in this case, so what you have to do? So you will have to provide the gate pulse, because we have to start our journey from right to left. So we will come here, then we will apply some voltage to the T1. So when you are applying a positive gate pulse to a T3, so what is going to happen? This is your T2, the T2 will be there, then the capacitor will be there, fine, then the inductor. Now no circuit is closed. So when you will provide a gate pulse, so what will happen? Your T3 will enter into the forward conduction state, and your T3 can act as a short circuit. So now you are having this voltage V1. So now you can see here you have already studied the circuit. So when you are having a DC voltage and the inductor and the capacitors are present, so you will get the resonating or the oscillating circuit. So now what will happen? Now this voltage will give its energy to inductor and the capacitor. So what is happening? You know the property of the inductor. So inductor will always oppose any change in the current. current. Now initially this T3 was off, and you have applied a gate pulse, so T3 will be on, so there will be a sudden increase in the current because you are having a closed circuit, but this inductor will always oppose any sudden change in the current. It means that to provide the opposition, your inductor will be having some polarity, so you will get the positive polarity at this point and negative polarity at this point. So because of this polarity, there will not be any sudden rise, there will not be any sudden shoot up in the current. So because this polarity will be opposing any sudden increase in the current. Fine. So it means that there will be a gradual increase of a current in this circuit. So what is happening? So when your current is moving here, and your current is moving here, and this current will come in contact with the capacitor, so what will happen, your positive charges will get deposited on the upper plate, and the negative will be at the bottom plate. Now this negative charges will be coming because of the electrostatic induction, so what you will get, you will be having the positive charges here and the negative charges will be at the bottom plate. So now, to what extent this capacitor voltage will rise? Up to what value this capacitor voltage will rise? So your capacitor will be charged to voltage V1. So it means that at t equals to infinity, because you know that when you are closing any circuit and you want your circuit to operate for the steady state, so if you are having the inductor and the capacitor in a circuit, so what will be the behavior of inductor and the capacitor? Your inductor will be acting as a short circuit, or you can say it will act as a current source. Now similarly, you can say that your capacitor will be acting as the open circuit. It means what? Your entire voltage, your entire DC voltage, your entire DC excitation will come across your capacitor, because you know that this inductor is a short circuit. This inductor is a short circuit, this inductor is a current source, so it means what, your entire voltage will be coming across your capacitor. So now you are having a voltage of V1 across your capacitor with the polarity of plus at the top side and negative at the bottom side. So now what will happen? Now you can see here your V1 will be at this, so V1 will be there, and V1 will be this is the V1 across the capacitor and V1 across a DC voltage. So what will happen? So ideally the current should be zero in this circuit, but you can see there you are having the inductor, and inductor has stored some energy in the form of magnetic field. So inductor will oppose any sudden decrease in the current. Now in order to support the sudden decrease in the current, inductor will reverse its polarity now. So now what you will get, you will get a positive here and the negative here. It means what will happen here? So inductor now will discharge the energy which inductor has stored in the form of magnetic field to the capacitor. Now inductor will supply its complete energy to the capacitor. So again, what is happening? Your current is decreasing. Because you know the property of inductor. The inductor cannot support the sudden decrease or sudden rise in the current. It will always oppose that. So for that, inductor has reversed its polarity. So now you are getting plus here and negative here. Now inductor will supply all its energy to the capacitor, and capacitor will again build up. Capacitor voltage will again build up, and it will charge to the twice V1, because you know initially this voltage was providing a voltage sub energy to the inductor and the capacitor. So equal amount of energy was there in the inductor and equal amount of energy was there with the capacitor. So it means that your capacitor will charge to a voltage of twice V1 when inductor will release all its energy. So now you are having a twice V1 across the capacitor. So now you can see here plus will be there and negative will be there when inductor will release. When inductor will release all its energy, so what will happen? Your T3 will be all its energy, then your T3 will be off. So when your T3 will be off, so what will happen? Your T3 will be acting as the open circuit. So now you can see here your T3 is in the off state. Now you can see the positive is going towards the anode of the T2. So now this T2 has entered into the forward bias state. So if you provide the gate pulse, your T2 will enter into the forward conduction state. It means that your T2 will be acting as the short circuit. So now you can replace your thyristor with the short circuit. So it means what? Your plus will come here and your negative will come here. It means the entire voltage will now come across your load. So now you are having a twice V1. Now you can see your plus Vs will be at your anode and your twice V1, which is higher than your supply voltage, will be at the cathode. So when the higher voltage will be at the cathode and lower voltage will be at the anode, then your SCR will enter into the reverse bias condition. And when your SCR will enter into the reverse bias condition, it will sweep out all the charge carriers from the junction, and your SCR will be turned off. So now when your SCR will be turned off, what will happen? Your circuit will be turned off and your SCR will be and your the objective will be satisfied. So what you have done, you have applied the external pulse to the T3, and this external pulse will help in turning off your main SCR. So for turning off of the main SCR, you have used the auxiliary SCR, and for turning off of the main SCR, you have provided a gate pulse. You have provided the external pulse to T3 and T2, and in this way, reverse voltage is coming across your T1, and your SCR will enter into the off state. So this is all about the classy commutation. We'll try to understand some more commutation in the next lecture. So till that time, I'll take your leave and we will meet tomorrow.